All right, let's talk about something that I think a lot of us feel. It's that frustrating gap between having these huge, ambitious goals and then finding yourself scrolling on your phone for 3 hours. You know you have all this potential inside you, but you just feel stuck, kind of lazy, unmotivated. Well, today we're going to break down a step by step formula to bridge that exact gap. Let's get into it.
And hey, if you feel that way, you are so not alone. This is a direct quote from Jay Shetty, and he's talking about a time when he felt like he was just wasting his potential every single day. He felt lost. And that's the thing, this isn't about you being broken or flawed. It's just about being stuck in a spiral. So the big question is, how do you get out?
Well, the first step is going to sound completely backward. Seriously. You'd think the answer is to aim higher, to be more disciplined, right? Nope. The real secret to actually getting started is to do the exact opposite. You have to lower the bar. I'm talking way, way lower. This right here, this is the whole game. It's a huge psychological shift. See, we think we fail because we're just not motivated enough. We sit around waiting for this perfect, magical feeling to strike before we do anything. But here's the truth. Momentum is what actually changes your life. Action creates motivation, not the other way around. And this isn't just some vague idea. There's actual behavioral science to back it up. It's called the activation barrier. Think of it like this invisible wall of resistance you have to push through just to start something. It takes up a ton of mental energy just to begin. So the goal isn't to think about finishing the whole task. It's just to get over that initial wall. And this quote just nails it, doesn't it? Just think about it for a second. Once you've actually dragged yourself to the gym and you're warmed up, doing one more set isn't that hard. Once you've finally opened that blank page and written the first sentence, finishing the paragraph feels natural. Your brain's biggest enemy is the starting line, not the work itself. So how do you trick your brain into starting? You use the 5-minute rule. It's this beautifully simple little hack. You just pick one thing you're avoiding and commit to doing it for only 5 minutes. That's it. You give yourself complete permission to stop when that timer rings. Your brain goes, whatever, I can do anything for 5 minutes. And just like that, you've bypassed the activation barrier. And what's crazy is, 9 times out of 10, once that timer dings, you've built up a little bit of inertia and you just keep going. Okay, so the 5-minute rule gets you moving. That's huge. But how do we build that into a real strategy for long-term consistency? Well, the key is to stop relying on willpower. Willpower is a finite resource, it runs out. Instead, you need to build systems. So here's a really crucial difference: routines versus rituals. A routine feels like a chore. It's, I have to work out. That drains your willpower. But a ritual is different. It uses a cue to create an automatic link. It's like, after my morning coffee, it's time to work out. It becomes automatic. Maybe you roll out your yoga mat the night before, or you create a specific playlist that's only for focus time. You're basically creating a trigger that tells your brain, hey, it's time to do the thing, without you even having to argue with yourself about it. But even with the best rituals, there's often something that's actively working against us. Before we can build good habits, we have to get honest about what's draining our energy in the first place. So ask yourself this question. When you feel bored, or a little anxious or tired, what are you reaching for? I'm guessing the answer is probably something on this list. This is what you call cheap dopamine. It's that quick, easy reward you get from endless scrolling or snacking on junk food. It feels good in the moment, but it ultimately drains you. It floods your brain's reward system and basically makes the delayed, real gratification you get from meaningful work feel impossible to achieve by comparison. And listen, you can't beat these algorithms with willpower alone, so you have to beat them with simple physics. You have to add friction. Just make your bad habits a little bit harder to do. When you need to do deep work, leave your phone in another room. Delete the social media apps just for the day. That tiny bit of extra effort is often all it takes to break that mindless automatic cycle. So we've talked about how to get started and how to design our environment. Now, let's lock it all in. How do we turn these small individual actions into an unstoppable engine of consistency that actually starts to build the life we want? Here's a fascinating number from psychology for you: 2.5. What this represents is something called loss aversion. It means that we are 2.5 times more motivated to avoid losing something than we are to gain something of equal value. We just hate losing way more than we enjoy winning. And we can use this little quirk of our brains to our advantage. Here's how. If it's easy to skip your new habit, you probably will. So you have to make it expensive. not just with money, but socially too. Tell a friend you'll pay them $20 every time you miss a gym session. Post your progress publicly online. You're basically wiring your brain to feel the pain of inaction, and that is a powerful, powerful motivator. And finally, we have to fight our brain's natural tendency to focus on what went wrong. It's called the negativity bias. You could have 10 things go right in a day, but you'll obsess over the one thing that went wrong. So this simple 3-minute review at the end of your day retrains your brain to see progress. And when you see progress, your brain releases real dopamine, which fuels momentum, which creates motivation. It completes the whole loop. This really says it all, doesn't it? The entire journey from lazy to consistent isn't about some giant leap of greatness. It's just about the decision to start over and over and over again in the smallest ways possible. Perfectionism is what kills momentum. Just starting, that's what builds it. So, let's make this real, right now. Forget the big grand plan for just a moment. What is one ridiculously, laughably small action you can take in the next 5 minutes to move toward a goal? Can you put on your running shoes, open a blank document and just give it a title? Maybe just drink a glass of water. The secret to changing everything, it starts right there.